Hello, good people. Jennifer here, and welcome to episode 3 of How to Turn Procrastination into Action and Self-Sabotage into Kindness. In this episode, we're talking about mindset. Now, I've based all of the information in this presentation, well, some of the information in this presentation is from my book, Beyond Possible, The Simple Formula for Living the Life You Desire, and also I've jam-packed it with lots of other useful information. At the end of episode 2, and sorry, if you haven't watched episodes 1 and 2 yet, I encourage you to go back and watch it. You can find them for free on my website, jenniferemmett.com.au, and it'll help you, if you watch it in order, it'll help put these, this will make more sense to you. So I encourage you to go back and watch it and then come back and look at episode 3. So at the end of episode 3, we asked that question: where do my beliefs and fears come from? Because we know that our beliefs and fears have such a significant impact on our experience of life. And to answer that question, I want to talk about your life. So imagine this line represents your life, and you've got the start of your life, and you've got the end of your life, and you've got this other point on the line here. And everything up to the start of your life up to that very point, that most powerful point in your life, we call your past. And everything from that amazingly powerful moment in your life, we call your future. So you might have guessed what this moment is, this most magical, powerful moment. It's your present moment, like it's the now, it's what you're doing right now. And when we're talking about the present, we're talking about, this one moment where I can do something about my output, this moment where I can do something about my thoughts, feelings, words, actions, and energy, knowing that these same thoughts, feelings, words, actions, and energy influence my life and have, the biggest influence over my quality of my experience of life. And so back to that question about where did my beliefs and fears come from, because my beliefs and fears have such an impact on my thoughts, feelings, words, actions, and energy. And they come from your past. And so we look back at our past, we can look back and we can, the things that we learnt or observed in our parents and our siblings or other people of influence in our life, that, our school teachers, and even what we see in the media and just events we see in the world, like all of this information comes into our brain, we process this information and we make assumptions and decisions about what the world is like and what our life is like. And that creates our beliefs, and it also forms our fears, because we're not actually born with all these fears that we might be carrying around with us as adults. Oh, wait a minute. We are born with 2 fears, fear of falling and fear of loud noises. But the rest of them, we go and we pick them up along the way. We look at the world and we go, oh, okay, so I have fear about this. And we create these fears depending on how we process the information that comes in. And same with our beliefs. So, and our mind does that for a reason. It does it because it's there. There's a part of our mind that's there to help us operate our life, keep us on track, and keep us safe in the world, as safe as it can. And so it's constantly monitoring the world around us. It's making decisions about what our life is like, and it's making decisions about what actions it should take based on what it understands the world out there to be. And that's, of course, our unconscious mind. So, and it's our unconscious mind that does a lot of the work in running our life for us. And just to give you some examples of that, have you ever, finished your day's work, got in the car and drove home, but you pull up in the driveway at home and you have no conscious memory of the journey from work to home, yet you've safely traveled you've operated this very complex vehicle through all that other traffic and all of the things that you need to get through, and you're not even conscious that you did it, because your unconscious mind knows how to do it. It's observed and learned how to drive your car, and it does it for you. And it does so many of your daily tasks for you. Imagine if you had to consciously think about the steps for everything you do in your life. You would be exhausted, and it would take so much energy, and you'd be slow at trying to respond to something. Like when you think back when you first had to learn how to tie your shoelaces, how complex that was. And it seemed like such a struggle, but now you can do it while you're, busy doing other things and thinking about lots of other things. It's just second nature to you, because you don't have to consciously think about it anymore. Your unconscious mind knows how to do it, and it just does it for you. And that's how it operates your life. It's constantly doing that for you. And so it's constantly preparing itself to do that. And one of the ways that probably the most significant ways it prepares itself, it's constantly rehearsing. And it does that by playing all of these thought loops. Have you ever, thought about how many thoughts the average human has in a day? Well, I did Google it a few years ago, and there was some, varying answers, but the average answer was, 60,000 thoughts a day. And then I was recently reading a book by a neuroscientist, and he also said the average is 60,000 thoughts a day. So that's a lot of thoughts that we have each day. And can you get to the end of your day and remember your 60,000 thoughts? Can you remember 6,000 thoughts? 600 thoughts? 60 thoughts? 6 thoughts? No, you can't. And the reason you can't remember is because most of them are unconscious thoughts. And so there's these thought loops that are just playing over and over and over in your mind. So your unconscious mind knows what your life is like, and it knows how to react at any split second to do, whatever it needs to do to keep your life on track. And so it's constantly thinking about, what happened yesterday? What happened last week? What happened last year? What happened when I was 6 years old? And it's just replaying these thought loops over and over and over in your head. They just, loop around these same thought patterns, and they're there telling you what your life is like and telling your unconscious mind how it responds to things. And so that's fantastic. We need it to do that. We couldn't survive without it. But sometimes it's developed these thought loops and these beliefs and fears based on things that are limiting to us, and it's driving our life based on those beliefs and fears. And when we consciously make a decision that we want to do something different, we can do it when we're consciously thinking about it, but that takes a lot of energy. And so when our conscious mind gets distracted on other things, our unconscious mind takes over, and it says, what you're doing there, that's not how your life runs. I'm going to pull you back onto track. I'm going to pull you back to what I know, because I rehearse your life all the time. I know how your life runs, and I'm going to make sure you stay there. And sometimes that staying there, it's just doing what it knows. It's not judging us. It's just doing it. And so sometimes it's doing things even if we know we don't want to do it. Like, we consciously know it's not good for us. We might consciously know that this thing that we're doing is actually really bad for us, and we want to do something about it. But when we get tired, we find ourselves just back there doing it again and again and again. And it's because we're start thinking about the past and reproducing the past and focusing, just keep doing what we did in the past. So we need to find a way to change that. We need to find a way to change our thoughts, to think about, what's going on in the present moment, what do we want in our life, and how can I start bringing some more of that into my life, and start reprogramming my unconscious mind in relation to, what are my beliefs and what can I do about my fears. And so we need some, it's a very strong force, and we call it resistance to change. You might have heard of it. That companies spend a lot of money, learning how to manage resistance to change. People often invest, lots of time and effort studying it because it's such a powerful force in life. And so what I'm trying to give you here is some tools for you to be aware of your resistance to change. Know that it's just a normal human behavior, and there is things that you can do about it. And one of the tips I wanted to share with you is, what can I do to start noticing my resistance to change? And I call this wait. And years ago, when I wanted to start learning about how to manage my resistance to change, I got sticky notes and I wrote the letters wait on them, WAIT, with a question mark. And what that stands for is, what am I thinking? And I wanted to just at random times through the day catch my unconscious thoughts. And so I'd stick these notes up around my house and in my car and in my office at work, and just go, what am I thinking right now? And just start to observe my thoughts. And I tell you what, I was pretty surprised at some of the things that I was thinking. And also with that understanding that my beliefs and my fears are the things that contribute to how I experience life, I knew I didn't want to be having some of those thoughts. But I learnt how to observe my thoughts with curiosity and kindness. I didn't want to be judging myself about those thoughts. And I'll explain a little bit more about that in a minute. Actually, I'm going to explain it now. This is where I want to, talk to you about how to turn self-sabotage into kindness, and this concept that, you hear people talk about self-sabotage. And in a self-sabotage mindset, we can be blaming ourselves or others and engaging in, that sense of guilt and self-criticism, or even criticizing other people, a denial of reality, that negative self-talk, that I can't do this. And I know that mindset very well because I did live with it for a lot of years. So I understood that concept that, I understood the concept that I was responsible for how I was experiencing my life. And that if I wasn't happy with how life was, or bad things that I perceived as bad were happening in my life, I would blame myself for that. And then I would feel really guilty and think that I wasn't good enough, like that I just wasn't a good person if I was doing these things and thinking these things that were creating the life I didn't want for myself. And it was that very sense of, self-blame and criticism and guilt that kind of kept me trapped in that life, because it was exhausting, and I found myself feeling a lot of depression. And also I went through regular phases of where I had suicidal thoughts. And I knew I didn't really want the end result of acting on that. But those suicidal thoughts were about me trying to escape from me. And so, I finally came to understand that this belief that I was, a bad person that was self-sabotaging myself was never going to be good for me. It was never going to get the outcomes that I wanted in life. So I went, I need to go and learn more about this and see if I can think about this in a different way. And so I started to read more and do some more workshops and things. And I started to get this concept in my mind that if I keep talking to myself that way, I'm never going to get out of this. I need to move to, a more self-kindness mindset. And so in a self-kindness mindset, I certainly still do want to take responsibility for myself. Like, I am responsible for my own thoughts, feelings, words, actions, and energy. But if I make mistakes and think things that I know aren't good for me, I'm just a human, and it's just part of my program that I picked up from the past, and I can forgive myself for that. And I can just encourage, observe it, learn about, and encourage myself with kindness to learn how to change it, learn how to change my program rather than judge myself and be mean to myself about it. And when I understood that, like, my life just got so much better. I did need to accept my reality, but use positive self-talk, that I can do this, and just keep doing it and learning more about, how can I change it? And that leads me to this next slide, which asks the question, if I start to become aware of some of my thoughts, which I know are part of my program, and that program doesn't match the life that I want to create for myself? How can I change my program and get more of what I want out of life? And of course, I'm going to answer that question for you in episode 4, Mindset Management. I look forward to seeing you there. You can find that for free at jenniferemmett.com.au. And if you are finding value in these presentations, I encourage you to please share it with your friends so they can get that same, maybe aha moments and some good value from this information I'm sharing from you. If you are interested you can get a hold of my book if you want to read more about it. I'm offering you at a special price of $24.95 plus postage. All you need to do is go to www.beyondpossible.com.au, click on the order the book, and when you get to the checkout phase, you'll have the opportunity to put in a coupon code. The coupon code is kindness with a capital K, and you'll get it for the $24.95 price. I hope you've enjoyed this information. Have a fantastic week, and I look forward to seeing you in the next episode. Okay, bye-bye.